Bunnyman Bridge. Back in 1903, buried deep in the wilderness of Clifton, Virginia, there used to be an asylum. Pretty soon after the Civil War, people started inhabiting the area, just around 300 or so, population-wise. It was a very small town. Nonetheless, people didn't like the idea of having an asylum just a few miles down the road. They all got together and signed a petition for it to be relocated. The petition passed, a new asylum was built, which was known as Lorton Prison, a temporary facility for the convicts to stay until they were appropriately sentenced. In the autumn of 1904, the convicts were gathered and piled into a bus meant to transport them to Lorton. Somewhere during the drive, not far from where they had left, the driver had to swerve to avoid something in the road, and the bus started to tip. Soon it was rolling in a terrible collision course. Most of the convicts were injured, but managed to escape the bus. They fled into the night towards the woods. The next morning, a local police investigation had begun. They started rounding up the convicts. Hours turned into days. Days into weeks. Weeks into months. Everybody was recovered after 4 months, except 2 people. Marcus A. Walster and Douglas J. Griffin. Now and again, during the search for both men, the police found dead rabbits. They were half-eaten and dismembered. Finally, they located Marcus, dead by a Fairfax Station bridge, now known as the Bunnyman Bridge. In his hand, he held a handmade knife and hammer-like tool, with a sharp rock as the head and a sturdy branch as the handle. They thought nothing of it, and didn't really care how he died. They only really cared that he was apprehended, and they no longer had to worry about him. They named Marcus the Bunnyman. They thought he and his tool were responsible for the abundance of dead wildlife. Later on, they would realize that they assigned the moniker to the wrong person. Still searching for Douglas, they kept on finding dead, half-eaten rabbits everywhere. Eventually, they gave Douglas the Bunnyman title instead. Months had passed by, and the police had given up their search. Everybody assumed the Bunnyman was dead by now, if not gone, so they went on with their small-town lives. Come October, people started seeing dead bunnies appearing out of the blue. They started to fear the unseen. Halloween night came around, and, as usual, a bunch of kids went over the bridge to drink or do whatever 20th century kids did at that age. Once midnight came around, most of them had left. Only 3 of them remained, 2 boys and a girl. At midnight, a bright light shone from the bridge's opening, right where the kids were. A few minutes later, they were all dead. Their throats were slashed with the exact same type of tool that was found next to the first escapee, Marcus. Not only that, but they were cut down their chests and gutted like fish. The Bunnyman then hanged the boys at the end of the bridge with ropes by their necks, hanging from the overpass so their legs dangled right in the view of any passing cars. The girl was hung the same way on the bridge. This happened in 1905. After that, nobody saw or heard anything from the mysterious Bunnyman for another year. Halloween 1906 was approaching. Parents as well as teens in Clifton still remembered the incident that occurred the year before at the bridge. His bridge. The Bunnyman's Bridge. That night, 7 teens were at the bridge right before midnight, thinking very little of it. 6 remained inside, while 1, Adrian, remained a good distance away, hoping to have enough time to escape if the same thing happened again. She was the only one to witness a dim light walking the railroad track just before midnight, stopping right above the bridge right as the clock turned 12, and then disappearing as the same time as a bright flash came from the inside. She heard the deafening sounds of screaming coming from within the bridge. It only lasted seconds, and moments later, the teens were all hung from one end of the bridge, the same way as the corpses a year earlier. Horrified, Adrienne ran home and refused to tell anyone what she had seen. She would only spatter words and incoherent mumblings that people of her town had to piece together to decipher her story. No one understood it. Nobody believed her. They charged her with the murders and locked her up in the asylum at Lorton. In 1913, the same thing happened. 9 teenagers this time, right on Halloween once again. Adrienne's still locked up. They dropped her sentence, but it was too late. The insanity had finally conquered her. Even if she was released, she was far too gone to have a normal life. So, she spent her remaining years in the asylum until she finally died in 1953, reportedly of shock. No one knows exactly what caused aforementioned shock, but she had died in her sleep, dreaming of that one dreaded night. Perhaps the Bunnyman finally did get her. More murders were to take place, however, after 1913. Most people stayed clear of the bridge on Halloween. 1943 rolled around. 6 teenagers went strolling to the bridge Halloween night. A couple hours later, all of them were dead. The same way as all the others. Investigations took place, but as usual, nothing was found. 1976, same situation occurred. Thankfully, this time only to 3 people. The only other incident that occurred since was one night in '87. Janet was enjoying a night out with her 4 friends. Halloween had finally come, and they had all gone out driving to enjoy the night after invading the candy bags. They settled around 11 p.m. at the bridge. They waited for midnight to come. They didn't really believe in the myth, so they decided to see it for themselves. And they were the only ones who actually withstood the Bunnyman. It was nearly midnight, and they had waited an hour or so. Janet started to get a little scared. They had all been pulling pranks on each other, jumping out of bushes, screaming, stuff like that, so she was already a little worked up. Midnight hit. By the stage, she was in a total panic. She was almost out of the bridge when the lights got really bright inside. And it happened. Her body was halfway out from under the bridge. She saw her skin begin to tear on her chest. Nothing was piercing her. She escaped completely horrified. She got hit by a hanging body, and it knocked her out. When she woke up, she discovered that she had been bleeding the whole time. Luckily, the cut had been not very bad at all. She left, never went back. Since then, she sits on her bench every morning, staring in the direction toward the bridge a couple miles down the road. But to this day, the story remains unsolved. So I did a little bit of digging into this. Oh geez, I'm coming across in mono. Sorry, doesn't matter. I did a little bit of digging into this, and it turns out that this is a real, actual myth. I had no idea. I was looking for a good image to use as the thumbnail, and I looked up Bunnyman Bridge, and an entire Wikipedia article came up. Fairfax County Public Library historian activist Brian A. Conley extensively researched the Bunnyman legend, has located 2 incidents of a man in a rabbit costume threatening people with an axe and vandalism. Oh, wow. Holy crap. Bunnyman sought in Fairfax County. The rabbit reappears. Bunnyman seen. These are all reports of it. So this is an actual thing that happened. That's kind of fucking bonkers, honestly. I thought this was just a cheesy story on the creepypasta wiki that I could do something bunny related. for Easter. But no, it turns out that this is a legit legend. I will link the the wiki in the description as well as the story. The Bunnyman is an urban legend originated after 2 incidents in Fairfax County in 1970. It has been spread throughout the Washington, D.C., the DMV area. The legend has many variations. Most involve a man wearing a rabbit costume who attacks people with an axe or a hatchet. Most stories occur in the Cloister Overpass, and then goes through the origins. Fairfax County Police opened investigations into both incidents, but were eventually closed due to lack of evidence. In the weeks following the incidents, more than 50 people contacted police claiming to have seen a Bunnyman. Several newspapers, including the Washington Post, reliable, reported that the Bunnyman had eaten a man's runaway cat. The Post articles that mentioned the incidents were: man in bunny suit sought in Fairfax, the bunny reappears, the Bunnyman seen, reports of bunnies are multiplying, and Bunnyman strikes again. These were all reported in the Washington Post. Wow, okay, this was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Sorry, little postscript as I smack the hell out of my microphone. I love you. I'll talk to you later. That one was a little corny, but I like the corny stories. That was pretty good. Thank you for listening, and I am so sorry about not uploading lately. Just been through the ringer. You guys know how it is. You pay attention to my other stuff, you understand what's going on. Things have been one thing after another, project after another, work thing after another. You guys know how it is, but I am still sorry either way, and I genuinely wish I had time to do more of these. I say it in every video that I'm going to start doing them more, but it's been like 3 months since my last one. But yeah, I have a couple others that I'm thinking about, maybe a series or 2 that I'm looking at. I just have to find the couple hours a week to set aside to do this. But thank you to all my patrons listed down below who keep supporting, even though I'm a piece of shit, horrible creator who doesn't deserve it. And I should have the creepypasta stream up this weekend, hopefully. So again, I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed this nice little corny story, and I will see you all when I see you.